when you start getting slower and you're like, wait a second. And so I make sure to start doing those specifically to get me back on track.
Mental health champions. We are back with a familiar face and someone I'm proud to call a friend. You may have seen some posts over the last few months. She was a guest star in my new book, TBI Recovery. She has an amazing story to share. Not one, but two life-changing accidents that she has persevered through, inspired through, and is back to doing big things in Tampa. Adrian, it's great to see you and welcome back to A Mental Health Break.
Hi, Vincent. So good to see you. Thank you for having me on a mental health break. I appreciate it. I love the work that you do.
Back at you. And she's going to be someone who continues to come on the show periodically. She always gives a heartfelt testimonial to help you, the listeners, get ahead in their journey. So welcome back to A Mental Health Break. My name is Vincent A. Lancy. I'm excited to share that today we're going to be diving into a lot of cool updates too. So be sure to scroll down in the episode description to catch up with her old testimonials, to track her journey. You'll get to know her a lot better. And we're brought to you today by Living Proof, TBI coaching, traumatic brain injury coaching for survivors, parents, and caregivers. But the show is all about Adrian. So I'd love to have you share, and I know your story so well, but in case our audience missed your other shows, please share what led you to a mental health break, right? Those early experiences you had that have changed your life.
Well, Vincent, it started back in 1987. I was a student at USF at the time, and my sister and I were driving to school one day. She was going to work, and I was going to my new position. And a truck swerved to hit a woman that ran a stop sign. It hit us head on, and then it had a lawn hitch on the back, and that jackknifed and hit us again. My sister was the driver. She was pinned from the waist down. And she was actually in ICU for 5 weeks. I was the lucky one. I got out in 7 days. But I think the most interesting part was that I lost all my language skills, my foreign language skills with that one. And I had to completely rethink what I was doing with my life. And that's what put me on my culinary path.
Yeah,
And then,
she's
yeah, it
being
was,
I'm gonna have to interrupt her, but she's being very humble there. Her culinary path is tremendous, right? She's got her own TV show, right? So be sure to stick around to the end of the episode because we're going to show her love there again. But, from the 87 accident, you mentioned that wasn't the first or last stop, I should say.
yeah, I went through a lot of therapy with that one too, just to, trying to figure out your life. I mean, it wasn't as life changing as what had happened with your accident and your hit and run. It's enough, right? And then in 2010, a truck ran a red light and hit me, T-bones my passenger side, and I spun across the intersection. And when I came to, everybody was asking, "Are you okay?" The car was just surrounded by people. And I looked at myself and I'm like, well, nothing's cut, nothing's broken. So I think I'm fine. They want an ambulance? No, I'm okay. Just I want my husband. And when my husband arrived, I got out of the car and my right arm wouldn't respond. And I said, we need to go to the hospital. And that one was like super cognitive involved because I had no mouth filter whatsoever for a super long time. And whatever was in my brain was out my mouth. And there was lots of screaming and lots of crying. And I couldn't do multiple tasks at the same time anymore. And I kept burning clients' food. And it was a big, huge journey because you're not the same.
Well, you didn't give up, right? She just shared she was burning clients' food. That didn't deter her from following her passion, her dream. And now she is just doing such great things. She's a regular that I see over at the Loth Entrepreneurship Center where we're talking behind the scenes, maybe linking up again there soon. Big shout out to all those great folks. But now, as you've got settled in new ways, right? You're learning how to live again. You're relearning things now. What has been the biggest lesson learned you found maybe in this latter half of recovery, right? The more recent years, because as I can relate to, recovery never ends with a brain injury, right? You think you're recovered and then you realize a couple months later, wow, I wasn't very sharp a few months ago. I'm doing so. What are some things you've been picking up now as we're living with the injury, not just fresh off the injury?
I think the biggest thing I had to do, Vincent, is acknowledge that it's forever. We don't want to label ourselves. Right? I mean, putting a label is like, oh, I have this, I have that. Well, we learn coping mechanisms. I think we have to continue learning to find new coping mechanisms, giving ourselves grace when we make mistakes. I know my planner is still my best friend, my handwritten planner. There was that research done like with firefighters that those that learned on a screen versus those that learned writing things down retained more writing things down. And when you use a planner, talking about the biggest things to be utilizing, especially as time goes on, you don't have to remember it because it's on your planner, because you need that brain function, that cognitive function to speak, to be social with people, to keep our business on.
And we were even talking about this behind the scenes. I do a lot of work in the school districts. And now when I'm in the classroom the other day, looking around the room, I don't even see a bookshelf. So I asked one of the kids, they actually read books on their iReady, as it's called, the tablet. So everything they're doing is screen. And my aunt and I, we talk about this because my little cousins in elementary school, and everything is on the computer. There's no like homework going home where you're filling it out and learning it. It's all relying on the kids to A, remember and get on the computer, and B, retain that, right? Me, for one, as well. When I write things down, I personally also retain it better. I know what works for some doesn't work for everyone, but there is science backed with the act of actually writing it down and seeing it. And you can also go as far as saying it out loud for that extra level of retention. I was
Mm.
someone who, read, wrote, typed, listened, recorded myself and listened, I should say. And that was in that cycle because that's just how my brain injury worked. But if there's someone maybe who's listening on here who is a caregiver for someone who has a traumatic brain injury. Now that you've experienced what you have, what advice can you offer to that caregiver?
Patience. Vincent, it's really funny. I was thinking about this the other day. I have learned that it takes me 3 times, minimum of 3 times, before I can hear and retain and begin to process something that's being told to me or shared to me, whatever word you want to be using there. Takes 3 times because the first time you brush it off. And the second time you really kind of brush it off. Interesting, in my early days, I had connected with a counselor. That's a TBI thriver that was working with TBIers. And she had said, the first thing you need to know is I'm always right. You're laughing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's a debate that my husband and I have all the time, still 15, 16 years later. And I'm like, look, you need to tell me at least 2 times. You have to keep repeating it. You have to keep repeating it. It's like I get exhausted repeating it. I'm like, you have to. It was like 3 times. It's a 3 time. I don't know why. So maybe it's 5, maybe it's more. Patience and just keep repeating so that we can process, because the way I was explained, TBIs are you have all your pathways and have now gotten all jumbled up. Our minds are brilliant and we use what, 15% of our brain or something. So we have all these other pathways that are just waiting to be used, and our brains have to learn how to build those bridges and to make those new roads. So you're how many years out?
Right
13.
now, I am 13 and a quarter years.
Yeah, and I'm 16 years out. And yeah, we are still healing and we are still learning new tricks. We learn them at a much longer pace now maybe, or but it can be done because I'm sure they had told you when you had yours that there's this learning curve where it's like boom for the first year or whatever, and then after that it logs off. But it's like, no, our brains do keep going if we're open to it, and we have to be open to it and we have to be patient to it. So if our caregivers, our loved ones, our friends can be patient still, and like a stroke victim or
I
even
think,
autism or, dementia, it's all there. It's finding that happy place. It's about getting that going.
oh my gosh. And you highlighted something so amazing. Well, many things, but the communication game, right? You have to communicate with your caregiver. If there's any TBI survivors and thrivers out there, they don't know what you're thinking. We think they may know, but they're not going to understand what we're trying to say many a times. And you also talked about how we can still learn things, right? Just differently and longer. I tried learning Spanish when I wrote the going to school book, and the 2 years of weekly or bi-weekly lessons, it was so hard for me to retain the intro, basic level, beginners. Like, everything takes more time. You have to find ways that work well for you. And again, caregivers, they do the best they can, family, friends, but they don't know because they've never experienced this. So we need to go out there and tell them, hey, you need to tell me a few more times. Hey, please be patient, because that invisible disease where we look okay, but there's other things going on. And that's not to say we're less than or not as equal to everyone else. It's our brains work a little differently. And I've been fortunate enough to meet incredible brain injury survivors like Adrian, who have found more success than people without brain injuries, right? So you have to remember that this is not the end. This is not the limitation. It is to propel you forward in a new way. You have to accept and move forward. But what are some things that you've been doing to take care of your mental health overall, Adrian? I know you find therapeutic ways with cooking, right? So what are some other things you're doing to give our mental health audience some new tools?
Movement. First thing in the morning, the first thing I have to do is some sort of movement. I drink my lemon water. I see you're drinking your lemon water. I start with warm water and lemon just to kind of clear everything out. And then I have to do some sort of exercise, whether it's just 10 minutes of stretching, ideally 30 minutes. The oxygen brain thing is the only thing I can figure as far as that goes. And then I found recently on YouTube, because I work out at home, it's just because I wake up early, right? We're early risers because we know that's when our brain function is best, and we have to jump on that because otherwise our day gets away from us. She does manual lymphatic drainage exercises,
Right.
which flush your whole lymph system, which means you're flushing out all the toxins even from your brain. Then that way you get everything moving and flowing, you get that blood flowing, you get everything moving. So, and she has neurolymphatic exercises. So when I am like really congested, when you start getting slower and you're like, wait a second. And so I make sure to start doing those specifically to get me back on track. Yeah. And then, of course, nutrition wise, I have to stay away from the sugars. I have to stay away from the starchy carbs. Every time I start doing that little dance again, I just slow down so much and I get those brain skips.
Yep.
That's the only thing I can describe them as is brain skips. And we don't have time for that because our livelihood depends on our brain. And we do what we do because we had to figure out how we were going to make a living, how to provide for ourselves, for our families, whatever. And we don't have time for brain skips.
Oh my gosh, so well said there. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing your story so admirably. Everyone, we're just a little bit away from getting her contact info. She is someone you want to add to your network for mental health champion advice or for some great cooking advice and some meals, right? She does so many great things. But now, here we are closing out April on this show airing. What are some things you're looking forward to coming up this year?
I'm in Women to Watch 2026 on
Ooh,
in the Tampa Magazine.
very cool.
And I've been nominated by South Tampa Chamber for Small Business of the Year. So now I'm like nominated, then it's the final cut, and I'm just honored to be part of that.
Yeah.
Working on, of course, growing cannoli Falcone, my Roman cannoli experience that made best dessert at Taste of South Tampa. Yay, cannoli, right? And expanding my cooking show, finding the brands and the organizations that want to move the needle on health and align with wellness and real life nutrition and get those sponsorships to grow my healthy meals in minutes.
And I think she just previewed that she's going to have a return on that entrepreneur show coming up, right? I always love to include Adrienne in both of my shows. She's someone who gives value both ways. And again, she's a great person above all and a great resource. Like for everyone I said, you need to get in touch with her. But before we get there, what's one piece of advice? And this question was coming. What's one piece of advice that you can offer anyone out there that is tuning in, having a bad day, can't see the sun today?
I just had one of those the other day, Vincent.
Yeah.
Breathe. You have to just stop and sit and breathe and give yourself grace and just ask yourself what what's the best way that I can be doing what I need to be doing. You hit walls and and sometimes it's literally you hit walls even with your head. Yeah, you have to just stop sometimes and when you can.
Yeah, and I think you brought up the good ways to do that with movement, right? I'm someone who wakes up. I wanted to do this in the beginning. I was thinking of doing like a re-edit and putting it in, but we're recording this on a Thursday at 7 a.m. I would just thought it would be cool as this has been so long with these shows, trying to keep things fresh and just little tidbits for our audience. So 7 a.m. on Thursday, we're both morning birds. Again, what works for some doesn't work for everyone. For us, we're most productive in these morning hours. TBI or not, we have certain hours of the day that eventually come and we're cut off from productivity, you could say, right? So for us, we're rocking and rolling here early. You are a true inspiration, Adrian. Thank you so much for keeping in touch and keeping these guest appearances coming. Everyone, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss great shows like this. And now, where can we find you online, Adrian?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok under I Am the Food Whisperer. You want to find my cooking show, it's Healthy Meals in Minutes. It's on rhstv.com. Or you can find it on YouTube. On my YouTube channel, I also have some very poorly recorded. I have 12 episodes of 12 Reasons to Drink Wine, where I partner with my friend Rosie, who is a wine consultant, and we have 12 recipes. So you learn how to cook the recipe and you learn 2 wines to drink with each recipe. So that way, if you want to be learning something new and impressive, it's a fun way to do it. So yeah.
Oh, well, you better get over there and head to her YouTube channel. Her name is Adrienne Falcone, Godsell. It's Adrienne. Adrian, right? So be sure to connect with her. If you're ever in the Tampa area, be sure to find her online, get one of those cannolis, get some of her food because it is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. Wow, little word jumbles at the end here. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you again for joining. And my name is Vincent A. Lancy. This is a mental health break. Please subscribe to stay current. And we are brought to you today by Living Proof TBI Coaching, traumatic brain injury coaching for survivors, families, friends, and caregivers. And with that, we're signing off to Florida entrepreneurs. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you for your mission and for being such a wonderful warrior and voice for TBIers.
See you soon. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I would love to hear your feedback. What did you love? What do you want to see more of? Are there any questions you would like me to ask the guests who come on the show? This show is not possible without you, the amazing listeners, so please email us at podcastsbylancy@gmail.com and let us know what you think. We'll also feature you on a later show. Please remember to subscribe to stay current with our amazing community of guests who will continue to come on the show, sprinkled in with solo episodes from me, Vincent A. Lancy. With that, I look forward to introducing more shows to you each and every week. And with that, we're signing off today. Enjoy the episodes and make it a great day ahead.